America has lost the war on drugs. This war was horrible for its citizens. Many people went to prison. Many people have felonies. We've even made generations of felons in this country. And some of these felons actually went to jail because of marijuana. The drugpolicy.org said that we had 653,249 arrests that were marijuana related last year. 89% of these arrests were people who actually just had the drug on them. Just possession alone. The legalization of marijuana needs to happen at the federal level. And the evidence that proves this is tax revenues will go up. The government will stop overreaching into people's private life. And it also has a lot of medical benefits for us too. Let's start with the financial part of it. CNN Money, actually, I quoted them from Colorado, has pulled $506 million away from its legalization benefits there. So through legalization of marijuana, they've actually been able to generate a lot of revenue for their state and their cities and those kind of things like that. And what comes to mind for me is that cities are in debt. We're having our own financial problems here in Wyoming with coal not doing as well as it could have been and those kind of things like that. So cities like Detroit or governments like our own could benefit from having a little more tax revenue, for sure. Also, we have a federal deficit. Now, this isn't going to cure that, but it's a step in funding some other projects, like our infrastructure is crumbling and those kind of things. It's another revenue source. It's another way for us to make money. And it's not any worse than alcohol or cigarettes or any of those products. The next thing that I want to talk about is government overreach. And I think that the government has overreached in two parts here. They've actually misclassified marijuana. And why I say that is they classified it as a Schedule I drug. They classified it in the same category as cocaine and heroin. And cocaine and heroin have a really bad reputation for overdosing, where you cannot overdose on weed. So the problem that I have with this is that this is no longer a health issue. Why is it Schedule I? You can't overdose on it. Some would claim that it doesn't have any addictive properties. Now that's remained to be seen. I think anything that makes you feel different has addictive properties. Alcohol is addictive. Cigarettes, we all know, is addictive because of nicotine. But people can be addicted to weird things. There's a whole show devoted to that on TV. And even regular things too, like eating. People can be addicted to eating. So addictive properties, I don't buy into that as much. But really honestly, when we're talking about these addictions like eating, overeating and stuff, we've tried to regulate sugar and those kind of things like that in the past. And if you're against that, you probably should be against regulating marijuana as well. Also, we just have too much regulation in general. Government is a little bloated right now, and so we need to really size that down. But that kind of brings me into the medical benefits of marijuana. NPR has an article that is called Opioid Use Lowers in States That Ease Marijuana Laws. So what they're saying is that in these states where they have marijuana laws where it's legal, that they actually have less problem with opiates, which I think is interesting. And it's a good thing because opiates have that overdosing factor. Once you're hooked on opiates, it's the same as being hooked on heroin. So that's your next step, is heroin. So that's a great thing for society if we could reduce that opioid addiction by using more marijuana. And it's a more effective painkiller as well, they're finding too, as far as medical benefits go. People that have cancer that use it, it has the opposite effects of most of their drugs that they use, where it limits how much they want to eat. Marijuana actually increases how much they want to eat. They all get the munchies. It's more effective at making the patient more sleepy, so they get better rest. And that's proven as well. The legalization of marijuana needs to happen at the federal level. And the evidence of that there will be more tax revenue and there'll be less government overreach, and the medical benefits are three things that help prove that true. So I would say start paying attention. Next time you hear about someone who has a felony or in prison because of marijuana, just think about that night you were out drinking. And think about why that's legal.